It's been over a year since my last major Chimps video where I tried to get to round 140 on a Chimps mode game in logs while only using support towers. I epically failed at round 138 because turns out a Gigantosaurus cannot deal with DDTs very well. However, in light of recent events, aka a new video from ISAB, has shown that the Megalodon is now a go-to Chimps monster, doing 3 times the damage and being way better at Chimps for late game. So, using this new incredible strategy, I'm going to see if I can break my record. Coming into the game here, as you can see, I'm on the challenge editor. And voice crack there. And I've chosen Ezili, mainly because I wanted to get her Marpex ability, which is really useful, but also because Brazio 1 year ago also picked Ezili, and I want to flex on him as hard as possible. The overall strategy compared to a year ago is going to be a lot different, because last time I went for a few strong towers like XXXL Trap and Gigantosaurus for damage, and Carpet of Spikes, haha, I play BT6. Carpet of Spikes to deal with the other balloons. However, they cannot deal with a bunch of fortified DDTs. However, this time is different. I'm going to rush a Megalodon. I'm going to speedrun that stuff, alright? I want to get it before round 100 because Megalodon, even when not max buffed, is insanely good now. You can get to like round 150 without even maxing it out on the longest maps in the game. Well, technically not really, but compared with the few other strong towers, yes, it absolutely can. Megalodon is really good now, and I want to exploit it before Ninja Kiwi nerfs it into the ground again. Another reason I decided to do this challenge is because I was getting a little sick of making only like late game and Paragon focused content. Now this is a late game challenge, but you know what? Who cares? It's on Chimps mode, which interestingly is actually really refreshing because I don't have to hardcore farm the second I get the money. I can just like put down towers, let them survive, and then slowly build up my defenses. It's actually a nice change of pace. I've also been grinding a bunch of medals in Bloons Tower Defense. I've already blackboarded all the easy and intermediate maps in the game, and I'm working on blackboarding a few of the advanced and expert maps, specifically the ones that I like, but for all the other ones, I'm planning to do every difficulty except for Chimps and Half Cash because I just hate those game modes on harder maps. They're so annoying. But I don't find Chimps annoying on the easier maps, which is why this video actually exists, and why you're watching it and giving me those free, juicy views, because I want to hit 3k subscribers by the end of the year. It's looking unlikely, but I do have 1 or 2 big videos planned, and hopefully, if my luck is good, I'll actually be able to do it. Other than a few large videos here and there, I want the rest of the summer holidays to be focused on like finishing some mini-series that I'd started in the past but never actually got around to completing. For example, the small foot towers only challenge. I want to do medium and large foot towers next because I think that would be really cool. Also, middle path versus top path versus bottom path, which can go further in late game. Let's be real, the top path has some temples and they're probably going to win anyway, but still it'd be fun to watch. Right now we're going up against the round 40 Moab. We're probably going to win because the Great White Shark is incredibly powerful and can take down Hindenburg easier than a massive breakout of fire can. I will say though, the one regret that I made from recording this video and doing it in the challenge editor is that I won't actually be able to break my all-time Chimps record because it's in the challenge editor and those don't count. So I should have done this in the real game because I can actually retry last round, which is a new Chimps feature. I don't know if it works past round 100 because, once again, I am garbage at Chimps. It's my weakest game mode other than Half Cash, but that's something to talk about later. One more last thing before we talk about the game is that if you've made it this far in the video, which, let's be real, most of you haven't because all of you click off the video in like the first 30 seconds, which is alright, I don't really care, then please consider subscribing. I really don't want to be that guy, but if we get to 3k by the end of the year, I'll do an elbow review. Wait, I just realized, did I say the exact same thing in my last video? Hold on, let me go check. And I will just say this, if you've made it this far in the video, which, wow, incredible, 6 whole minutes, I didn't even know you had an attention span that long, I am going to have to ask you to subscribe. I know I don't want to be that guy, but if I get to 3k by the end of the year, which at this point I'm feeling is unrealistic, then I'm going to reveal my elbow. Why the elbow? No idea. Wow, I'm unoriginal. Well, I guess the tactic did actually work. I'm like 11 subscribers away from 2k, which is incredible considering that less than 3 months ago I wasn't even at 1,000 yet, and now I'm at 2,000, almost. Wow, incredible. Who knew that I could actually, like, gain an audience? The stars are aligning. One more thing that I'd actually like to talk about. I know I said before, like 10 seconds ago, that it was going to be the last thing, but I have one more thing that I just figured out. The TAC Paragon and Update 46. I decided that I am not going to make an update video on Update 46. Well, it's mostly because everyone has just done it and it's just over and over and over again. Degree 1 versus Degree 100 TAC Paragon. Is the battle cap worth it? Blah, 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 blah. It is so, like, it's just repetitive. Everyone's doing the exact same thing. So I thought, why like fit myself in with the plebs and instead stand out and shine bright like a diamond? I absolutely came up with that phrase myself. Definitely not stolen from a certain famous singer. Now finally, after over 6 minutes of useless yapping, let's finally talk about, well, the BFB died. That man didn't even stand a chance. Anyway, let's actually talk about the footage you're watching, because I am a good YouTuber. Please don't unsubscribe. Anyway, we're at round 62, about to hit round 63. I decided to not get one super buffed orca, and instead I decided to get one relatively buffed orca and a less buffed orca. Well, I think there's only one on screen. No, there is two. Okay, I'm not blind. So, one of these is almost maxed out as an orca, one of these is just a base orca, one of them is to clean up, one of them is to actually do damage, but I decided that it was more worth, like, having 2 towers to clean up, because the rest of my defense is pretty lacking. I mean, look at this. Deadly Spikes, was only able to do that because of the 2 orcas. Imagine if there was only 1. Sure, it may have been stronger, but 2 is better than 1. In most cases. And this is one of them! Now I'm just gonna skip to round 80 because, let's be real, the first 79 rounds of BTD6 are just mind-numbingly boring for a video like this. We can't one-shot the ZOMG because the orca is not max buffed, but they do a lot of damage, enough to pop it before the first bend, and then everything else just gets absolutely decimated by the 2 whales. Yes, orcas are not sharks, they are whales. You cannot convince me otherwise. Literally, you can't. Charles Darwin said it himself. I wonder what the first video game developers back in the 70s would think of Bloons Tower Defense 6 today. Would they be, like, just completely blown away by the graphics and, like, how complicated the game is? Or would they just not understand it at all? Well, Super Mario was released in, like, 1985, so relatively complex. Now we go to the purchasing of Mr. Extinct Fish himself, the Megalodon. We have it, ladies and gentlemen, and now the save up for Super Mines can begin. Supermine was actually the tower that I wanted to get in the last attempt that I did this. However, I was super close, but then Giganosaurus and the other towers just could not beat around like 138, so I never actually got Supermines and never realized my dream of around 140. However, Megalodon is a different story, because Megalodon is incredibly strong now, and we probably are going to get Supermines, and maybe even be around 140, and I'm not going to spoil it. All I'm going to spoil is that I have an hour and 37 minutes left of this recording, but I haven't edited, so yay! Oh no. Round 100 and I only just got my overclock. It won't be up to the cooldown in time, and oh. Yeah, round 100 is just completely decimated by the Megalodon, and from now on I am going to be putting the footage in 2 times speed instead of 1 time speed, because, look, it is going to get a little laggy later on. Wait, little laggy later on. Alliteration! I'm smart, I passed 5th grade. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, 2 times speed, because I want to get through this video, and I also want to, play Minecraft. But I need to maintain a consistent upload schedule on my YouTube channel so that I don't fall off. Because that's a thing that YouTubers do. And here it is, ladies and gentlemen, the round that killed me last time, round 138. Will I survive or will I die? Here's the thing though, Megalodon is a thing that exists, and even though Dark Dirigible Titans don't actually exist in the real world, they do in BTD6. Also, yes, I did get a Tyrannosaurus Rex for that reason, so that I could stun all the ceramics, and that I am able to clean up round 138. Record beaten! Okay, time for 140. Now I'm just going to cut to footage of the Megalodon absolutely violating the fortified bad and the regular bad, because turns out the RBE threshold has been raised to like 250,000 for like the one shot, meaning that I think bads up to around 166 can get destroyed by or one shot by the Megalodon. I'm not actually sure if this is true, but according to ISAB it is, and I can't remember exactly what round it is because I can't be bothered to check, even though it will take me 5 seconds. Who cares? I'm lazy. Now I'm just gonna gloss over the next bunch of rounds because nothing really important happens, except for a few things. For example, we finally afford the super mines on round 143, meaning that we can now more easily clean up the smaller balloons, and we can better deal with DDTs in the smaller Moabs so that the Megalodon can focus on the big boys like Bads and Z1Gs. Then on round 186, yes, 186, we finally get the Gigantosaurus, the tower that we have been waiting for this entire time. But, well, not really, but the Gigantosaurus is a nice boost in DPS. Also, its ability has a shorter cooldown, I think, but it also does more damage and stuns the balloons for longer. It also has a larger radius, which are all very helpful things because DDTs have become a lot faster. And they will become a lot faster, so this ability is going to be super useful. I've also gotten an overclock to buff the super mines, and I'm also boosting the Gigantosaurus, of which I'm also going to get an overclock for in the future. On round 195, I'm literally $5 away from getting the Call to Arms, but a few DDTs come in and I'm able to afford the tower. The Call to Arms is going to boost everything on the screen except for the Megalodon, because the Megalodon doesn't actually get boosted by villages and attack buffs that much, mostly damage buffs. And now for the toughest round we've faced so far. Round 200, which I easily cheese by just using Azili's level 20 Moapax ability twice to pop each of the bads, and now we are moving on into the 200s for this challenge. Previously, I thought that round 140 would be incredibly difficult to get, and now here we are a year later, beating up around 200 level balloons, and we show absolutely zero signs of absolutely zero signs of stopping. Round 211 took me a few attempts to beat, but I was finally able to defeat the many pads on screen by affording Homeland Defense mid-round and pushing its ability so that I will be able to defeat this round. Now not only do we have Homeland Defense, we also have 212 rounds under our belt. Surely we can't last for much longer, except we actually can, long enough for me to get a top path engineer, which I'm forgetting, Century Champion. Yes, that's what it is. The Century Champion is afforded on round 219 with literally $75 to spare, which is cutting it pretty close. But now, all we have to do is get down a few more towers and our setup will be relatively complete, mostly because cash income is a lot slower at these high rounds because you only earn 2% the money you actually should compared to round 1, because every 50 balloons yields 1 money. And the next useful tower is going to cost several thousand. On round 229, Azili's Moab Hex ability was almost certainly needed to be used because I was not going to be able to squeeze out an extra few thousand damage in the short space that I had left. But that brings us to round 230, where Azili's ability is almost all the way off cooldown, or on cooldown or whatever, so that it's activated super late during the round, and unfortunately 230 is where this run dies. I tried this for a good 10 to 15 minutes doing several new things, such as trying to afford a Call to Arms. Of course the Call to Arms didn't work. I tried getting down a few Spike Storms, they didn't do enough damage. I tried getting another Orca, it wasn't enough. I tried getting another Tyrannosaurus Rex, it wasn't enough. There were just too many bads, too far spaced apart, and my abilities were just too far off cooldown. And unfortunately, 230 is where we're going to call it because I can't see any way to get past this. It might be possible with better luck with the rounds, but for me, this is the limit. Who knows, maybe in a year I'll try this again and see if we can get to 250, or maybe even around 300, which is insane, because round 300 in Chimps is not meant to be feasible, and yet here we are doing it with just support towers. So who knows what happens when we include the other 3 categories. But I don't care. I've been sitting in this chair for 2 hours editing and re-editing, mainly because why the heck not. But that is all I'm going to do today. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next week. Or maybe before then if I actually decide to get off my lazy ass and make a video. Anyway, here's the final pop counts for all the towers. As you can see, the Spike Factory absolutely came in clutch with 10,000, the Giganosaurus with over 60 million, Bob the Builder with 300,000, the Megalodon with over 300 million, Super Mines with over 100 million, but I think we can all agree the real MVP was this 420 Beast Handler right here with a whole pop. I mean, what an absolute Chad.